Hey, what's up guys? It is Mark Yoon, and today's video is sponsored by me, so make sure you stay tuned for a special ad in this video. So what I want to talk to you about today is more SOULCALIBUR lore related stuff by popular request. I received request for Azwel, so we're going to get into Azwel. This is going to go basically strictly off of my recollection from Libra of Souls, so let's hope that since I recently just played it, that everything I put in here is up to snuff. If not, please correct me in the comment section down below. So, what I wanted to talk to you about, Azwel's role that he plays in not only this story, but in possibly an upcoming iteration of a game, maybe a SOULCALIBUR 7 or whatnot. Obviously, he is the main antagonist of this game, but we know that he has a lot of mystery surrounding him, just like Gro, who's his counterpart, but we actually find out a lot more about the lore of the character in Libra of Souls mode. For example, we find out that he used to assist the Azwel Corporation, which is the corporation that Gro is a part of, that is mandated to pretty much kill any outsider or somebody that is has anything to do with the evil sword. So, pertaining to Soul Edge or anything of that like. But when it comes to Azwel, obviously he did it for nefarious purposes, and we don't know exactly if he ever changed or if he was being puppeteered by Algol, because he does allude to Algol a lot in the Libra of Souls story mode. But what we don't know can be, I guess, kind of like learned from throughout Libra of Souls. So it seems like at least some people in the Azwel organization used to regard and revere Algol and trust him for his consultations and whatnot. And obviously he pulled a 180 and became like the main villain by catapulting himself into power. But the main part of Libra of Souls is how did he get that power and what is he trying to do with it, because we don't really find that out in the story mode. But going up against your created character, and of course going against Gro and the rest of the Azwel Corporation, and some other guests that are coming along the way, such as Taki, Sungmina, Arthur, Mitsurugi, like there's a lot. Geralt even. But what we see is that his goal is to obtain power from the astral fissures, and since he actually can't really do that per se, he uses us, our main character in Libra of Souls, as a conduit of sorts to try and draw out the power. And I believe that he wanted to use us to actually complete his goal, which I think was pretty stupid on his part, because since we were teaming up with the Azwel Corporation, I think he was really just counting on the fact that everyone who gets corrupted by the astral fissures and by the power within, like from the Soul Edge and whatnot, that they usually turn out to be like mindless just beasts, or able to be co-opted and controlled using his wizardry. But there are exceptions to that, as we see with Hilda's father in her story mode. Like he, yes, went pretty much off the rocker, but he did maintain a sense of self and even recognized his loyalties in the end. So we can see that he was pretty much leaving a lot up to chance by relying on us as a conduit for his plan. So what he basically wanted to do was create two brand new swords and become the sole wielder of them, which would make him pretty much rival Algol, if not surpass him. So he was trying to store up enough energy to create an ultimate seed, and this seed would birth the two swords, depending on the user and the attributes and whatever. But as people mentioned, these swords are powerful, yes indeed, but they're still not the originals and still not as powerful as Soul Edge and SOULCALIBUR. I think that's all left up to chance as well, because we don't even know at this point how Soul Edge and SOULCALIBUR came to be. So the fact that we're able to create new swords and there's a possibility of using the astral fissures to do those, then I would say that, like, yes, this could be as powerful, if not more powerful, than Soul Edge and SOULCALIBUR. And perhaps they won't even have a will of their own like the original swords do. But there's a bunch of rumors of how that will came to be, like them absorbing the souls of people who wielded them, and that leading to an amalgamation that eventually...
Hey, what's up guys? Have you always wanted some sweet Mark Yoon merch? Maybe a thick U shirt, maybe a shirt from Squirt, maybe my pretty face with my logo all over your body, or a throw pillow, or blanket, or anything? Well, you're in luck, because I just launched my merch store, and it is going to be available on Redbubble, and you will find a link to it in my description box down below. It's got a lot of quality content and a lot of good stuff for you to pick up, so you can show your support for the channel and just rep Mark Yoon. Alright guys, as always, thick U.
Turned into a personality. There's a bunch of thought behind that. Their power does obviously come from the other realm where the astral fissures lead to. There's the azure and I believe the crimson, and that energy that's found within the astral fissures is what makes up the energy of the swords. So it's completely plausible that Azwel could use this ultimate seed to create 2 completely new swords and wield them without having control over them, or without having the ability to lose himself to them. But he needed us to do so. He needed us to absorb the energy. I'm not sure if he wanted to wield the swords exactly himself, or if he figured that we would be the perfect puppet to do so and become like a new nightmare-esque type thing that would be controlled. But obviously his plans didn't come to fruition. There's different endings based on what part of the story you do, but none of them include Azwel succeeding. They pretty much come down to the epilogue of the Libra of Souls mode itself, whereas you either let Grow live and he learns to control his powers and you have a sparring match with him, or you pretty much kill Grow, which is what you're supposed to do as being an offshoot of the Evolve Corporation, or at least like a participant. So there's a lot to be addressed with just that alone, especially when it comes to Azwel. I'm more likely to say that like his personality was changed because of the energy, the chaos energies from the swords. Now, if Algol is the one pulling the strings and we see him with his wizardry, maybe his powers or abilities were enhanced somehow by the swords. And I mean, that's all speculation. We don't know if there's any shards in him like Sophitia or anything like that. But we just know basically that like he's not using his powers for good. And Algol is supposed to be more of a neutral source, even though he's corrupted by the death of his son. So we see if Algol is truly pulling the strings to create this ultimate seed, I think Algol eventually will succeed, which would lead up to the next game, because I think what that's going to do is rebirth Algol. So maybe Algol is speaking to him through like the astral fissures or the astral plane, and just trying to entice him through his will. Because Algol's mentioned, and even though Algol's been around forever in the lore of the original Soul Calibur, this is a reboot. So it would be safe to suffice to say that he still would be around at this point, because they're borrowing so much heavily from the last one. They're just pretty much getting rid of everything that 5 changed. So I think that like if he is creating this ultimate seed that's supposed to birth these new swords, those new swords might be the power catalyst that creates the new Algol. Maybe he is reborn from those swords and from the ultimate seed, and he is the ultimate weapon. That would make a lot more sense than Azwel getting able to wield ultimate power, which I believe is more of an enticement from Algol's point of view, trying to entice Azwel to do as he sees fit. So he does things on his own to acquire this power, but essentially he's pretty much doing all this in spite of himself just to rebirth Algol and lead to whatever Algol plans to do throughout the rest of the series. So I'm not sure about Algol's son or anything like that, because that's old lore. Maybe that's still a thing. Maybe he hasn't been corrupted yet. Maybe this leads to the corruption of his son. Maybe we'll see all that in Soul Calibur 7. Who knows? At this point, a lot of what we say with Algol is just found in snippets. Most of it, and the majority of it, is in Libra of Souls. So if you, and a lot of the other character stories too, if you go to their Soul Chronicles, a lot of them have like dealings with him towards the end of their Soul Chronicle. So we get to see bits and pieces of lore that we can put together. And I'm probably going to get into specific Soul Chronicle stuff later. For now, I just wanted to cover what would happen in Libra of Souls, and of course I'm paraphrasing it. I really entice you guys to play Libra of Souls yourself. It's a great expansion on the game, and it really helps you come to an understanding of a lot of the lore that is deep within Soul Calibur as a franchise, and it tends to show you a lot more of what carried over after they rebooted from 5 rather than what was omitted, which is what I feel like they did in the regular story. So you kind of need them as a compendium to each other. They go hand in hand, and you can't really rule one out without the other. With that being said, guys, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. Likes are always appreciated and all that good stuff. Subscribe if you haven't so you can stay up to date with all this new information and new stuff and new news. If you have any ideas for future videos or any plans that you would like to see, leave them in the comment section as well. And as always, guys, thank you.